It's a fantastic day here in sunny Dorset. We're going to be brewing a Belgian Tripel today. It's a bit of a knock-up brew. It's just something I fancied doing. Fancied doing a Tripel for a little while now. I did one a couple of years back. Not done one since, so I want to try and improve on it and improve sort of water, chemicals, and get the sort of profiling right for the style of beer. So yeah, welcome to my brew day. Right, so to start off, it's going to be a step mash, a 38 degree acid rest, a 50 degree protein rest, and a 65 degree saccharification rest. I will do a mash out actually, at probably about 75 degrees. So yeah, the water's now set at, where is it there? 45 degrees. By the time I've added the grain, she could get down about 38 to 40 degrees, which is ideal. Just a little show you there. That's the grain. There can be salt additions on top of the grain. The grain bill is 2 kilograms of pale ale malt, 2 kilograms of Schill Pilsner malt, and a quarter of a kilogram or 0.25 of a kilogram of Caraclair. So see what that brings. I will meet you back for the dough. Right, doughing. Adding it bit by bit, probably about half a kilo at a time. Give it a bit of a swoosh around inside the strike water. Just make sure it's well and truly mixed. We don't want any dough balls. You're not going to get many dough balls at this temperature anyway. It's only well, a little bit more than blood temperature, so it'll sit quite happily in there. It's going to be quite a thick mash, considering it's got to be decocted. And then what I'll do is I will add another 3 litres of water just to bring the volume up a little bit after the acid rest, and I'll probably add the extra hot water, which is probably boiled water, to try and bring it up so we've got a protein rest with it. So see you back there. 39.4, 39.3. That's pretty good for an acid rest. It's all doughed in. I've added another 3 litres of cold water just to bring it down to sort of temperature I want. So I'll meet you back here when we add a bit more boiling water to try and get that temperature up. It's going to be quite a full mash tun, but then you need a lot of water for decoction anyway, because you lose a lot through the boiling. So, see you in a bit. Acid rest is done. Back on the, going to raise the temperature up to see if we can get it onto protein rest. Just decocted a small amount up, but I was going to use a bit of hot water, boiling water, to try and get that temperature up, but I'll see if we can use that for sparging. So, just going to try and get this hot and get it boiling, and then I'll add it back to the mash. It's one more decoction I didn't really want to do today, but it's not a problem. I'll get that done and sort that out. I checked the pH of the mash as well, make sure that after the acid rest, make sure that it's coming in. It's coming in probably around about 5.3 at the moment, but say I'm only using strips, so I just want a round the ballpark sort of figure. So I'll meet you back after the protein. Right, the first part of the decoction is done. It's raised from 39.5 degrees up to 50 degrees now. It's all gone back into the mash tun. As you can see, it's sitting at coming to 50 degrees. So that'll sit there now for another 20 minutes. And then I'll take that off of there and we'll give it till 65 degrees centigrade for saccharification. That'll do. Protein rest is done. And it's now time to get it up to saccharification rest. It's fairly straightforward. Heat it up, add it back to the mash, check your temperature. If you need a bit more, take some more out, do the same again until you get up to that 65 degrees. Consistent throughout the mash, and just leave it. It's going to have a 45-minute rest. What did I say? Did I say that I gave it a protein rest for 20 minutes? So it's 20 minutes for the acid, 20 minutes for the protein, and it's going to have 45 minutes for the saccharification. And then I will take the thin end of the mash, which is the watery bit, and I'll put it back into this pan and I'll boil it for the mash out. See you then. Final part of the decoction's done. It's up to 66 degrees. I wanted to hit for about 65 to 66, so 66 is good. With an hour, but probably the degrees drop over a period of 45 minutes. So that's on there for 45 minutes now. No trouble at all. A couple of decoctions to get it up to that heat. That was it. We'll come back. I'll be draining the tun into the Leute tun and then sparging. And then we'll do another check on the pH before it goes for boil. Also, the first wort hops go in as well at that point. So, see you about the end of the mash, ready for the mash out. The mash out will be at 75 degrees. You just decant the wort off the top of the grain bed into a pan, boil it, and add it back to the grain bed. Stir it in. It is a long process, this, but I do enjoy it. So, you know, I don't mind putting a bit of time in. Yeah, so I'll see you back at the sparging and the pH testing of the kettle. Point of interest here. I've just drained out the wort off the grain bed for the mash out, and what you're looking at here is all the protein that's been left after the protein rest. So all that sort of slurry and that scum on the top of the grain there, that will be left behind with the grain, and hopefully shouldn't transfer itself into the wort to make a clearer beer. That's the idea. So, yeah, I hope that was a bit of interest to you. It's not a lot really, just looks like a load of mud on top of the grain bed, but it's good to see it separate. That's the thin end of the mash has gone in. It's on mash out now. It's up to 75 degrees. So perfect. So we're going to leave that now for, I think we're going to give it about 20 minutes. But on top of that, I'm just going to put a few hops on there just to give it a bit of a mash hop thing. It's not a full mash hop because I've not done it for the 45 minutes, but let them in there, steep a bit of flavour in there whilst it's waiting. Get it in there, let them sit, just give it a bit of a mix up. So it's looking good. I'm quite pleased with it so far. I don't know what the efficiency is like on it. I'll check that out later on. And we'll decant it into the kettle. See you there. Right, first wort hops are in. Decanting the mash tun into the Leute tun, and I'm going to stick that straight into the kettle in a minute, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so I'll see you back at the boil, or I'll see you back at the kettle pH test. Sparging underway. Sparging working well, so I'll say it's. I'll see you back at the kettle. Right, we've got the wort in a jug, and I'm just cooling it down to sort of as cold as I can get it. It's coming in at now 29.1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little litmus paper, so a little, you know, the sort of the brewing pH test strips, and see what we've got. Should be coming somewhere around about 5.2 or thereabouts. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? It's coming about 5. Just a little bit more than 5.2, so that's 5.3 or 5.4. That's something like that, something on those sort of lines. So I'm happy with that. So what I'll do is I'll get that boiling. First of all, I'll check the gravity of it, make sure it's on par for where I want to be, and continue from there. So you'll see me on the boil. See you there. Coming up to the last, what would it be now? The last 12 minutes of the boil. Timer's going to go off in about 2 minutes. Tell me that I've got to put the syrup and the final 10-minute addition of hops, which are 25 grams of sapphire. They'll go in, and I'll chill it down with my copper chiller and stick it straight into one of my food storage boxes I bought the other day, which I'll show you in a bit. Right, it's been boiled. It had a 75-minute boil. I think I've ended up with about 17, maybe 17.5 litres. And that's it there. Unfortunately, the light's not doing it any justice because it's like casting it into a bit of a shadow there, but it's the only room I've got at the moment. yeah, all went well. Can I say about it? I think I disturbed a lot of that protein that was sitting on top of the grain there when I stirred in for the mash out. It seems to have sort of stirred itself back into it, which has given me quite a lot of trouble. But that'll settle out, and it's settling out. It's quite flocculent, so it's sitting there. So across my loof, Belgian ale yeast is in. I've only pitched one of those in at the moment. It's coming in at 1.074, which should give me a nice alcohol, sort of ABV for this style of beer. Just wait and see. It's just going to go into the fermentation fridge, probably till the end of next week, and see how it goes. Just something else to know. I saw a post from Dude's Brews, and he had done away with sort of fermenters, and he'd been using these clip safe, well not clip safe, but they're just like food safe storage boxes. This is a 24 litre one, and it's wide enough to go inside the fermentation fridge, and you can stack probably 2, maybe even 3 in there. So especially in the cold fridge, which means that you can just keep stacking them up, brew them, put them in there, so you can have multiple beers in your fermentation fridge, so you don't have just one of them taking up all that space. There's no airlock on it, and there's some cling film on the lid, or under the lid, and yeah, see how that gets on. I mean, you don't need to see it bubbling to know it's working. It's test it every day or every other day with the hydrometer, see if it's actually moving. So that's that. So I'll do a summary in a minute, and I'm still going to be a grain to glass, but I'll do a summary in a minute, and let you know how it's getting on.